So my name is Courtney Todd. I'm a fractional CMO and creative director. I started out in dramaturgy and theater and film when I got my master's at Columbia. And when I left, I ended up working my way up through the marketing world, taught myself graphic design and different marketing tactics as I worked from company to company until I became a VP of marketing at a marketing automation brand and digital agency. So when we were bought by the parent company for Dallas Morning News, I moved up and became the VP of marketing for the entire B2B division for the news. In 2018, I left to pursue my own fractional career and started a small branding and website design agency called Rollout Agency. And we also do marketing work as well. But the other half of my business is I'm a fractional CMO, and I work with clients in e-commerce and healthcare, B2B SaaS, and other B2B technology. So I've been doing that for 5 years now, and I really help brands that are looking to rebrand and find a new audience in their or are launching a new product line, and that's really where I shine, and that's where I found that my clients get a lot of value out of what I do.
Speaking of rebranding, since
Yep.
you've led many successful initiatives in that, what are some of the elements that you think are crucial for rebranding, specifically maybe in healthcare or early stage companies?
Yeah, so I consider the most crucial elements for a successful rebrand to be, well, I think first is understanding why you're rebranding. So that is, I mean, that's at the heart of the process. So just rebranding because you want a different look or a logo or a new website, it really doesn't get to the heart of it. You have to really think about what you are looking to accomplish with the rebrand. So, like I said, adding a new product line that shifts the direction of the company or trying to reach a new type of customer. Those are often reasons that are very valid. But the best decision is one that's rooted in data. If you're just starting out to brand, I think that's a really great chance to really look at who your consumers are, where you live in the market, product market fit, all that good stuff. But if you're actually doing a rebrand from a company that has customers, has a solid market share, you have to go back and look at all of the data to understand, is this the right thing to do? Is this the right place to spend our money? And is it going to be bring us the ROI that we really expect out of it? Once that's decided and we've decided, yes, a rebrand is what we need, then, I really see 5 major elements that are crucial to a successful rebrand. The first is that clear understanding of your target audience. Their needs and preferences are always evolving, but to really understand, okay, this is who we are trying to target. This is how we're going to target them, and this is why the rebrand is going to be successful in amping that up. I think the second element is crucial is a compelling brand story. If you're just doing what everybody else is doing, there's no reason somebody should buy from you and not your competitor. So your brand story needs to differentiate yourself from your competitors and resonate emotionally with your customers. I've done a lot of e-com, but when it comes to healthcare tech and you're talking about B2B in particular, you always have to think about customers are companies, your customers are people too. Somebody is making that purchasing decision. So you still have to have some sort of emotional connection to them to make your product the one that they want to add to their stack instead of somebody else's. The third one is, it's consistency across all touch points. So you can't just launch a new website and 10 months later decide to change the logo on your accounting software, right? You have to think of every single touch point along the way, from logo to launch and beyond, because otherwise you're not going to have consistency and your customers, and honestly, your employees are going to get really confused. So you have to see the whole picture and make sure you're hitting every single thing with the new logo, the new messaging, new colors, new branding, etc. And then part of that, the number 4 is the strategic rollout plan. So the rollout plan has to build excitement. It has to minimize confusion, and honestly, it has to support your business objectives. And then last, which is also the first thing I think that really, really has to be taken into consideration, is internal alignment and buy-in from your entire leadership team, your employees where needed, and all of the key stakeholders. And I think that's really important along every stretch, every step in the process. So.
Does that process change at all when, if it were a full-time role versus a fractional role as a CMO?
I've done it both ways. I led multiple rebrands as an in-house marketing leader, VP, CMO, and I've done a lot of rebrands as a fractional. It didn't make a difference,
Yeah,
honestly. It's all about the fractional you have, because if they're all in, they're all in, and it doesn't matter how many hours a week they are working for you. You're still going to get the same amount of impact if you hire the right person. So I personally find as a fractional, I honestly get a little more done even than I did as an in-house, because I'm able to say, okay, I have 10 hours a week for this client. There's no water cooler time. There's no, it's very specific, dedicated time to each client.
yeah,
And then, I typically run week sprints for everything. So when you talk about a rebrand, it'd be like, okay, here's our team. Here's what we're going to accomplish in this 2-week sprint. And we want to see, we're going to see logo and brand guide. We're going to see first wireframes, and we're going to get the list of everything that needs to be changed. Great, go. And here if you have any questions. And I'm able to work on strategy and think about the next 2 weeks and the next 2 weeks and what we need to accomplish going forward, while the technicians are doing their jobs that we, have decided. Here's what we need to do. Here's what needs to happen, and here's when it needs to be done. And I think that process has worked really well for my clients. And you're focused. You don't have all these other things that kind of live in the ether when you're an in-house
right.
leader. You really are you got to be laser focused to accomplish what you've decided with the leadership team are your main KPIs. And with a rebrand, that's easy to know, right? We know exactly what needs to be done. I've done so many, it's just it's checklist, right?
Right.
We know exactly what we need for each rebrand. And each company is a little different with some of their internal needs, but overall, it's this is what we need to do. This is how we roll it out. And you just tweak it based on each personal company, because it's the same, right? It's the same process, but all the little details are going to be different. And that's what makes it exciting. So I know I went direct from the question, but
No, it's
yeah,
great.
so yeah.
When you mentioned like a very data-driven rebrand, to
Yeah.
support the reason to rebrand, how do you balance creativity in general with data strategies and marketing strategies, especially considering your
So
creative background? Yeah.
yeah, so I am a creative. I'm a creative director at heart, and I've done graphic design and video editing back in the day, and I still do some graphic design, if I need to jump in and help. But I really think that creativity and data are two sides of the same coin when it comes to effective marketing. Data provides the insight, validation we need to make informed decisions, but creativity is what helps us stand out and drive meaningful engagement. So like when it comes to really understanding the data, analyzing market trends or diving into customer behavior and campaign performance, that is directly tied to creative. So you can't say campaigns are working if you're not also analyzing the creative. That it goes hand in hand. So all we look through all of the data, but then you tie it back to whatever it basically looked like, and what it sounded like and what that messaging was. And I mean, with if you're A/B testing a website, one of the very first things we talk about is changing a button color. And sometimes that is the simplest thing, and it can make your conversion rate double, by just changing tiny little things. And so understanding the data gives you the foundation to tackle the creative in a different way. And so once you understand the data, see what's working and not working on creative, then you just test. You iterate, you measure impact, and then you iterate based on what you're seeing. And that's why A/B testing is so important. Um, but the fun thing is that it's a continuous cycle of experimentation, and it's never ending if you're doing marketing right. So I think you're combining the power of creativity with what the precision of data, and that way you're able to really create like impactful campaigns that are working and aren't just pretty.
Yeah. I love you said it's two sides of the same coin, and like
Yeah.
how they can work together, I think is very key. Going off of that, this is one of my favorite questions, and I'm really excited for your answer.
Oh, good.
What's the most creative marketing campaign you've worked on, and did it involve any unconventional strategies or ideas?
Okay, so I thought about this one a lot.
I'm sure.
Um, and I've worked with a lot of clients on very creative campaigns, but I thought it'd be interesting to bring you one, that didn't make it, because
Oh,
to
okay.
me, some of the most creative marketing campaigns are the ones that really don't see the light of day for one reason or another. Um, and this one I loved. So I had an amazing client in the beauty and skincare industry, and it's a minefield out there in social, and they faced a major issue on social media where, an influencer who was aligned with the brand said some not great things on a shared promotional post, and our customers rose up and asked what we would do about it. So we issued a press release, and the response was like overwhelmingly positive, which was great. But as their CMO, I really thought we should go further, and double down on our, like, we called it the voice of diversity and inclusivity, which was a key part of the brand. And so we proposed a YouTube series called Face to Face Conversations About Beauty, where makeup artists would host political or cultural activists, and they would discuss their specific cultures, professions, and how they approach to beauty while getting a makeover. And the focus would be on the challenges of, finding shades that work, as well as like celebrating their unique beauty and their culture. So we thought that was a really, really amazing idea. And we got this close to production. And like I said, for reasons it didn't make it. But as a marketer, you kind of have to mourn some of these amazingly creative concepts that never actually make it to quote print. But it's still the one campaign that I wish we could have seen fully realized, because I really think it could have made an impact in that industry and in a lot of people's lives, and been a game changer for the brand, because it shown would have given people access to activists who really needed a voice, through kind of a mass market beauty brand, while celebrating different cultures, and just would have been a really fun thing to watch. So,
I would have been a subscriber.
right? I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
so fun.
yeah, I love that idea.
Yeah. So, and
Interesting.
I've had quite a few that haven't gone to production. I think as a marketer, we come up with some amazing ideas, and whether it's budget or, doesn't align with KPIs or budget, it's typically budget, or
Right.
the CEO has a different vision. But that's one of the things as a marketer, that you have to be flexible, and you can't just hold on to one idea and say, but this is the only idea that's going to work, because you're going to get pushback on certain things. You've got to say, okay, I fought the fight, we're not going to do this, let's look at something else. And so
Yeah.
we pushed, and we did other things through PR that that made a difference. And we did other, kind of changed some things up on our social media and with certain influencers we were working in. It was smaller, right? They were smaller little impacts and not just this massive impact that we really wanted to own. But you move on. You move on from some of the ideas that kind of live in the idea graveyard. I don't know if you've ever been in Vermont, Ben and Jerry's has a flavor graveyard. I don't know if you know this, the ice cream. So it's like you go to their store and then they have this graveyard and it's like little gravestones of all their
That's
flavors that have been
hilarious.
discontinued. Yeah. So I always
See, I
think
love
about
that
it like
brand.
that.
I love their branding.
Oh, it's so great. We're going to Vermont in August, and we're taking our
So
kids. And
beautiful.
I'm like, guys, yeah, it's one of my favorite places. So, but yeah, so I always think of Ben and Jerry's when I think of like the marketing graveyard of ideas, because there's just like flavors. So, anyways,
Well, kind
yeah.
of opposite of that. Well, what was one of your most rewarding moments of being a marketer or
Let
at
me
campaign? Yeah.
see. So, well, I think it's bigger than just a campaign. For me, it's really been the impact I've been able to make and the work I've made that I've seen have on businesses and like people I've led and worked with.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the keys of being a leader, is building building the people who work for you and with you, building them up and getting them to the next stage in their career. And then also, just in like building websites, not even as a fractional CMO, but building brands and websites, seeing these new business owners um, or business owners who are rebranding, just seeing the impact that these new sites and new marketing materials and new life is being, kind of injected into their business and seeing how it affects their business on a positive level. Whether it's helping a struggling startup, like kind of find its footing, or guiding an established brand through like a successful pivot. In order to, stay relevant in the market that won't stop changing. Knowing that like my leadership has made a difference, that's what gets me up every day. But I really am particularly proud of the teams I've built and mentored over the years. I've built many teams in-house before I went off as a fractional CMO, and I've built and led many teams, whether, for all my different clients. They're different every time. So I don't have like an integrated agency where I'm like, here I am, and here's all the people you're going to work with. If they don't have an in-house team, I build all my I bring in groups of freelancers and bring in the right freelancers for whichever business needs they have, which has been really helpful. Um, so, and I feel really lucky to have collaborated with so many talented individuals during my career. I still have like one graphic designer who I worked with in like 2012, and he still comes in and out of my business life when I need designers. Like if he's not at a full-time job, I'm like, Matt, come on in, we need work. And I want to give work to great people, and I want, great work for my clients. So that's a really fun part of it for me.
Yeah. I think one thing I've learned over the years, at least about myself, and I think people in general, is people love to help people. Like if
Yeah.
they're a good person and they have a good work ethic, like it's so rewarding just to be able to build up others, especially ones that you are inspiring and you love. So
It is. And, I've been meeting with a lot of other fractionals, CMO, CTO, COO. Like there's a
mhm.
lot of fractionals. I've been building that network. And at the end of every call, like you say, what can I do to help your business?
Yeah,
And I've had so many people where it's like, you know what, I need a good graphic designer. And I'm like, great, I have right the person, just the person. And I've been able to make all these connections. And it's been so rewarding to be able to help other people, like find good people, build their business. Because there is enough work in the world for everybody. And, as like, so, there's just not competition, I think, among fractionals in the same way there might be among, different people vying for the same full-time job.
right.
Because there's also different niches and things like that. So yeah, so it's been yeah, that's my favorite part.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time. Do you have a hard stop? It's okay if you do.
I'm just gonna send, I'm gonna be 5 minutes late to my next call. It doesn't, yeah. So let me just send this text real quick
Great.
and we can answer a couple more questions. Okay, thank you. Okay,
Yeah, if you want to
perfect.
do a speed round.
Yeah, I know I can
So
talk forever.
no, I mean I'm also a culprit. But so what's one of the most underrated skills every marketer should have?
This one I had a lot to think about too, or think about a lot, but it's curiosity. Um, so, not talking about like a passing interest. I'm talking about a real constant need to learn more. That's always been something that's been important to me throughout my educational career and then through my professional career. But marketers need to be open about asking questions and be open to new ideas and perspectives, not only from like trends and industry, industry articles and things like that, publications, but also from the people they're leading. I think is a huge source of inspiration. So they're the ones that are always on top of their game. And curious marketers, they're getting the latest industry research. They're going to conferences. They're reaching out to different people to like pick their brain on what's working and what's not in their industry, getting out of their industry and looking at, if they're in ecom, looking at B2B and really seeing what's working across different industries and applying it to their own. And then I think also just staying engaged and inspired. It helps you stay engaged and inspired in your work. And it makes it not get stale, which I think some marketers struggle with. That's the short answer. So
I like it. Curiosity.
yeah.
And then I have two more. So
Okay.
do you have a theme song for your workday?
So I had never thought of one, but after some
It's okay.
thought,
It's a random
I
question, but
it's such a random question, but I loved it. But it was "Go Your Own Way" by Fleetwood Mac,
oh, I love it.
because it's so like one, it's just a great song. I've been in a Fleetwood Mac mood lately, because my kids are really enjoying it. My 5 and 3-year-old are loving it. But for me, like I never thought that I would be an entrepreneur. If you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have been like, what? No, I'm going to be a corporate leader through, until I'm 60, right? And life took me in a different direction. And here I am as a fractional CMO with my own business. And I love it. I love the freedom it brings me. It allows me to, do what I want with my time, enjoy the clients. I get to pick the clients I work with. And I get to be as creative as I want. I'm not stuck in one place. But it's a great reminder that like to keep paving my own path and finding new ways for my clients to stand out. And so every day, just to keep remembering to keep doing what I'm doing because it's working and I enjoy it. So